Now, a lot of us, okay, when we first see an order flow chart, we focus, okay, on this candle. We focus, okay, on this color of this candle, and our minds are actually, okay, programmed, okay, to just look at what this color is. But this color, we have to, okay, just put it aside, okay, for some time and try to understand, okay, why sometimes, okay, this color is red and why sometimes, okay, this color is green, or what really happened, okay, between the high and the low over here. So what we're doing is in order flow is we are adding data to a chart. We are adding information to a chart, and we are trying to find out what happened, okay, between the high and the low of the bar, or what happened, okay, between the open and the close of the bar, right? Now, the color of this candle is dependent on the open and the close, right? So if the close of the bar, this is the close. If the close of the bar is lower than the open, the color of the candle is red. Or if the close of the bar, of this particular bar, is higher than the open, the color of the candle is green, right? In order flow, what we do is like, okay, we don't pay attention, okay, to the information in the color of the candle. What we do is we try to find out, okay, what has happened, okay, between this buying and the selling. Now, this candle has closed over here at 11:15. Why did it close over here? Because, okay, it met, okay, a little bit of serious buying over here. Took it from the lows of 51,219 and placed it right here, okay, around this 51,275, 280 mark, right? The same thing over here. This color became red because there is a 314 lot seller which came in exactly at 51,412 and pushed this from the high to this close. So what you are seeing is you're actually getting a little bit more information than the open, high, low, and close of the bar. And you're seeing, okay, in this important points, okay, where the seller is operating and where the buyer is operating. I also keep saying this, that the market is not made, okay, for one tool, right? However good your tool is. So in my case, okay, I work a lot, okay, with my 10 bar cot. But the market, okay, was not made, okay, for my 10 bar cot, okay, to decode everything of it. So I have to, okay, surround myself, okay, with an IB and an IS signal. I have to surround myself, okay, with a market and a limit order. And I have to surround myself, okay, with a cot, okay, at the end of the 3 minutes and the cot at the end of the 30 minutes, because the market speaks in different ways. And I have to, okay, find it good and find it within me, okay, to collect, okay, all that information which is, okay, flowing from the market. Right? So don't just let one tool be the, you know, the speaker for everything, okay, which is going on, which is happening in the market. The market is different every single day and will speak to you differently every single day. What we are trying to do over here is we are trying to incorporate a scientific approach to trading the markets based on what the market is telling us, not based on our view of the market. It's based on what the market is doing and the message it is giving us. And order flow is the clearest sign of what the market intends to do and what it wants to do.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. A quick sound check. I hope I'm coming across. Great. So before we start with the review of the order flow of the March series, let us just have a quick look of what we have done so far in March. So a quick look at the profile chart of the sessions gone by, starting from 28th of February. And then we will move on to the 30-minute order flow of Nifty futures. And then we will finally wrap up with the Bank Nifty order flow. So you can see the first profile we made as the new series started was a gap. We opened lower. we opened with a gap down, and this was a open drive down. And after the open drive down, we made this double distribution trend down profile in Nifty futures. But what we can make out from this profile is the POC shifted to the lows. So this was telling us that yes, there was selling which came in, but those sellers were booking profits, and the supply was not adding at this new lows. So as a result of which, what happened, we opened higher the next day, but again, because this was a seller dominated day, we got this VWAP being again attracting. We saw supply coming back at this VWAP, and from this VWAP we made an open rejection reverse open, and we went on to make new lows. But then again, you see how we struggled to make range extensions lower. So what was happening, we saw seller over here, and then the seller came back at this level 22363, and then we stopped finding supply at the lower levels. So how do we know that? Because we had hardly could manage to make a range extension lower. You can see how we made small range extension D and F. So that was telling us that the supply was drying up. This is just in the market profile chart. We will come to the order flow chart, and that will be more clearer in terms of how supply and demand were coming in. And then what happened was, the next day again we opened with the gap down on 4th. This was more due to global market, not because of what we saw in the order flow on 3rd. And that is the reason when we opened lower, there was no supply previously also, and this also quickly got rejected. And once we got back about this previous day low, we never got below, and we left this initiative buying tail. So this was a very clear sign that the supply was drying up at the lows, and then here we got initiative buyer who has come in. And after this initiative buyer, this was again complemented by another initiative buying tail on the 5th, which was yesterday. And here we went on to trend higher for the first half of the day till the time we hit this very important POC from the A period of 28, which was a 22488. We saw a big seller coming back right at that level. That will be more clearer in the order flow when we see that. So that supply, it was tagging the previous supply zone, and hence we got some supply coming back, which is why we got this retracement. But this retracement took support at the VWAP. So you can see how this 22363, which was the VWAP of the first day, was showing us change of polarity yesterday. And that is where we stopped today also. Today's open was higher. We opened higher, hit this anchored VWAP from the swing highs. Not to forget that the main trend of Nifty futures was to the downside. But as we mentioned, we always take every series with a new bias. Yes, we started the March series with a drive down under and a double distribution day down. But after that, the supply was not showing. And today, what happened when we hit that anchored VWAP, we again saw a drop, and that drop again got stalled right at this VWAP, and we left a B period buying tail. So we also had an A period selling tail, but how do we decide which of the buyer or the seller is more dominant is when we are able to take off one side of the tail. So that is what we did. We went on to negate this A period selling tail. So that meant these buyers who had come in the dip in the B period were stronger than the sellers. And that is the reason we trended higher for the day, and we went on to make a high of 22638, and the POC but today has shifted to the top. So the buying which we had seen from this 4th of March is now looked as if it's booking profit. So, and we are also we have also closed the first weekly settlement of this March series. So from tomorrow we will again adopt a fresh approach and see how the volumes and order flow show up at the open. So let's now move on to the order flow chart. And there's a very good, interesting feature which has been added in the Vtrender chart section. Previously, we were only able to save the market profile charts as bookmark. Now we are also able to save the order flow chart. So we can select the order flow chart, go to any of the order flow chart, and we have this option at the top right to save that chart. And we can say that the order flow chart gets saved in this global bookmarks. In the menu, you have market profile bookmarks and you have global bookmarks. So now you can have the 30-minute Bank Nifty charts and even the 3-minute, whichever time frame you are watching it. So let us now quickly, this is the 30-minute Nifty futures order flow chart, and let us have a quick review of what we have done from 28th of February when the March series started till today. So as we saw in the market profile chart, you can see how we opened lower and we did not get any demand. We have rows of zeros on the buy side, and we continued to drive lower. In the drive lower, what we do, we take this APOC 22490, which is what we saw that big seller coming in yesterday. So this became our reference, and although we made a marginal new low in B, the PLR was to the downside. Why? Because we were below VWAP and we were below this VWAP and POC of the A period. So then we got this IS30 bar, which made it very clear that it is the sellers who are holding. And because of that, after once the IS30 got activated, we went on to complete the targets on the downside. And here you can see how continuously we are getting RBs. The supply is drying up at the new lows. We got overlapping RB bar for almost 4 30-minute bar, and then here we got an IB30. So this is in this series, it was the first time we got IB30 so quickly in the series. Otherwise, the last 3 months, December, January and February, we have got only IS30 bars, just like how we started this series with this IS30. But to see this IB30 come up was a welcome sign, which was telling us that yes, there is some demand coming in, and you can see how the COT had turned green. So it was not a surprise that we opened higher on 3rd. So this was a double distribution trend day where the POC shifted lower. This also confirmed that profit booking has come in from the sellers, and there was some demand also which was seen because the seller was not able to bring it lower after this 1245 bar. So, but what happened on 3rd, on Monday this week, is we opened higher, we got rejected at this VWAP of the trend day, which again saw some supply coming in, and it gave us the open rejection reverse chart. But you see how this open rejection reverse and the market falling came on green COT. We have 4493 COT green, 1282 green, 1119 green. And what we did here was we saw that on the market profile chart also. In spite of the strong open, we were struggling to extend the initial balance. You can see how the supply was drying up when we are making a extension lower below the IBL. So this was telling us that the sellers are not adding at this 22140 level, and the COT also remained green. And here we at 12:15 on 3rd, we get the second IB30 bar of the series. So we are getting two IB30s inside 10 bars. So although this IB30 was not a big range one or not a huge big volume one, same with this, but it was telling us that the structure is changing. It is not like what it has been the last 3 series, that the seller dominated and he kept on moving lower and kept making bases lower. Here we are seeing some demand which is coming back. The buyers started to fight back. So here what we did on 3rd was we got this IB30, but we again met with sellers at this 22310 level. So we closed as a you can say B-shaped profile with this IB30 being active. On 4th, we opened lower. This was nothing to do with the structure. This was more to do with the global market, because overnight the markets closed lower, I think more than 1% in US. We opened lower. But what we did was in the lower open, we immediately got rejected and got back above previous day high. And you can see how in this A period, the order flow, we have closed above VWAP. And once we have a green bar on a 30-minute, the POC and the VWAP of the 30-minute becomes our reference. So you can see how this POC was at 22140, which was matching with the previous day low. And here this open was an open rejection reverse. Another point to note, this week all the opens have been strong ones. So when you get a strong open, most of the move is done in the initial balance. We are getting a more bigger than average initial balance range. So which is why the move is done in the first hour, and then we are making a small consolidation for the rest of the day. The same thing has happened in Bank Nifty, where for the 4th consecutive day we have formed a normal profile today. All 4 days this week from Monday to Thursday are normal profiles. So Nifty at least made couple of attempts to extend, but more or less the downside attempt after the Friday's profile was a was not successful. And here you can see how this gap down left this A period tail which held throughout the day. You can see how even though we dipped below VWAP, it was a low volume day, small range, but the opening volume, the first 30-minute volumes was 20,000 contracts, which was good. And more importantly, this POC was holding. This is the green bar, which is closed above POC and closed above the day's VWAP, and this POC held throughout the day. And once we made this dip 22151, 22151, similar lows here, the 145 bar gave us the third IB30 bar of the series. 3 IB30 in 3 days we got. So, and the IS bar came only on the opening day of the series, which was at, I think, the D period. This was that IS30. After this, we have not got any IS30 bar, but we have got 3 IB30 bars. So this was the reason Shai was very clearly mentioning on Twitter also, that we are not seeing the supply which we saw in the last 3 series, and we are seeing buyers staging a fight back. So this was precisely what was happening underneath the surface, because of which after this IB30 and after this A period buying tail held on this J, we got a open drive up yesterday. You can see how this was the base and this was just a follow through. We got again good initiative buying here. The cot you can see on the third was mainly green. Even into the close we had good green cot, and then when we opened with this drive up, we did see some profit booking, but we continued to trend higher. And this is where we got the seller yesterday, the big seller. You can see this is the biggest seller, 1169, which came right at that 28th February A period POC. So this stalled the move higher yesterday, and from here we went on to dip down, but we held the VWAP. So this was telling us that the buyer is still in control, and this level of 22360 was important because this was the VWAP of yesterday's seaside, which gave us the dip and took support at the 22310, which was the previous sell side reference. So you can see how the levels were showing us change of polarity. 22360 was the VWAP of the trend day, so that was holding yesterday in this dip, and 22310 was the high of this where we got this RS. So it first showed change of polarity at 22310 yesterday in the A period. The seaside low was right there, and then the next after the range extension, it took support at 22360. So this 22360 in this 22385, which was the VWAP, was our support. Today what happened, we opened higher. This was an important reference. This was the anchored VWAP from the swing highs we have left on 13th and 19th of February. And as soon as we hit this, we saw some retracement, and you can see how this retracement in the opening A was on green cut, and then we saw some big reds coming in when we made lower lows in B. But what we saw as the order flow signal was an RB bar, and this bar low was right at the 22360. So what it was telling us, all these reds, either they are the longs who have liquidated, or they are sellers who have got stuck and they are underwater. So as long as this RB was holding and we got back above VWAP, we are looking at upside. We made marginal new highs in the 1045 bar, but here again, this was more of an no demand bar, and then we went on to again make a dip lower to test the VWAP. But then we held these lows, 22435. So 22440 was yesterday's POC. So we were taking support. Even the VWAP was around that level. So we were taking support after this VWAP negation at that level. So that was telling us that the PLR was to the upside. And from there on, we remained above VWAP. Although it was marginal range extensions, the PLR was definitely to the upside. And what we have done into the close is, we have seen some profit booking here. And even now the 10 bar cot is not majorly red, but yes, what we have done is the POC is shifted to the top, 22620. So the move which we started with this dip at 22104, where we made a base at 22140, seems to have come to a good probable objective of 22620. It's almost a 500 point move, which we have got in 3 sessions. So we will have to see how we shape up tomorrow as the new weekly settlement starts. First at this 22620, and today's VWAP of 22533 would be the lower important reference. So that is where you see in the order flow how there was no sign of any IS coming in after the 21st IS which we got. Whereas in IBs we got 3 of them, and this particular IB has given us more than 3 times the target, the last IB. And why this became important was this IB came after we got an initiative buying tail. So this became all the more important, and this was followed by another initiative buying tail. So it was very clear in Nifty that it is very bullish. It is more bullish. It is getting more demand. Now let us have a quick look at the Bank Nifty order flow, and we can see how Bank Nifty was not exuding that kind of confidence which Nifty futures showed us. So this is the 28th February order flow, 30-minute order flow of Bank Nifty. You can see how the lower open got zeros at the up on the top, and we went on to make these lows of 48433, but we were not able to extend below the A period lows. So we made an extension higher, but this range extension to the upside failed, and we got an RS. In fact, this 48830, you can see even the cot was more on the red. This became a failed auction, and we went on to make new lows of 48320. But what we did after this is we formed a IB30 bar. So even in Bank Nifty, it was very clear that the supply is not adding on 28 below the IBL. So this IB30 gave us a retracement back to this 48775 into the close, and we got a higher open on Monday. But the higher open got rejected right from that failed auction level. FA is a very important concept in market profile, and we always see what is the order flow showing us at the FA. If we are above the FA, we are bullish. If we are below the FA or we get rejected at the FA point, we are bearish. So this test of FA did not get any demand. So the sellers again came back strongly on the third, making it an open rejection reverse and driving it down to new lows. Here in this new lows, it was very interesting point. In the VMR, we were discussing how these new lows held the spot VPOC of 47833, and this VPOC is from 5th of June. The next day after the election results were out, we started to trend higher. So it was the base which Bank Nifty had made on that day in June, way back in June, which was holding. 47841 I think was the low, and this 48120 was the low in Bank Nifty futures. So what we saw here was the POC shifting lower, and we did not get any IS30. So it was very clear, yes, we are getting supply above the 48,800 level, but we are not seeing supply being adding in this 48, 150, 120 zone. So once the POC shifted lower, you can see how we made another attempt to probe, but there was not, the supply was not interested. There was no supply getting added. So because of this, we went on to give a bounce back, and you can see how this bounce back stalled right at this VWAP of the A period. This was definitely a seller dominated open. So but the seller at the top was only able to give us this POC, and here it was looking as if the sellers are booking profit. And once we got back here, there was some selling which was seen here, so because of which we remained around the VWAP zone, and the next day on 4th we made a lower open, but again at the same place you are seeing an RB being formed. You can see how this 572 buyer is coming right where the RB bar of previous day was there. So this is giving you that confirmation that the buyer is holding coming here because of lack of supply. So this 48140, just like 22140 became an important reference in Nifty futures, this 48140 became an important level in the Bank Nifty futures. So here on the 4th, what we did was we formed this A period buying tail, and you can see how this VWAP of the A period held. This 48333 became our reference because that was having the A period buying tail, and that held throughout the day. The dip you can see was holding this buying tail. That means the buyer were holding this zone. Yes, higher. It was meeting supply. The supply was also active in Bank Nifty, because of which we are not getting any IB30 bar like what we saw in Nifty. But it was very clearly telling us the supply is not coming at the lower level, but at higher probes, the supply is coming back. So yesterday when we made an open drive up and open test drive in Bank Nifty, you can see how again we got sellers, and this 945 bar very clearly showing us zeros on the buy side. In fact, we have a trifecta of zeros. So this was very clear that there is no demand. Yesterday Nifty futures continued to trend up for the first half of the day till the G period, but Bank Nifty could not take off the B period high. Why? Because the order flow was very clearly showing us red caught and zeros on the buy side. And after this probe higher, we got one small IS which went on to make these lows here. But this 48577 remained our A period tail, because this was still an open test drive up, and the A period selling buying tail was holding. We were still not bearish till this 4877 would have got broken. And also we had this POC at 48500, which was the support. This was telling us that the buyer have shifted their base over here. And what we saw today was a higher open, because we had not seen much of longs being built up in Bank Nifty, which is why this higher open also got immediately rejected, because there was nothing, no volumes as such. So that is the reason when we went up, we just swiped. The numbers which you're seeing on the buy side here are more stop losses of shorts, but there was no participation at all by demand. And to put things in perspective, 49,000 was our rollover point, and 49,100 was the next higher HVN of that day, the 28th of February. If I take you back, not the 28th, the 27th of February, where we had the expiry day. So if I quickly take you back to the 27th, we can see how we had the maximum volumes at close. This this was the LTPO, where we had the highest volumes at 49,100, and then this is the M, where we had the highest volumes at 49,000. So these two were our important references. 49,000 was our rollover point. So below this we were bearish, above this we would have been bullish, but this again was one reference. So you can see how today's order flow at the open did not show us any demand at these 2 points. In fact, the high today was right at that 49,100 level, and because there was no demand and we immediately got rejected back below 49,000 and got back into previous day's range, it was very clear that the Bank Nifty is headed lower. And what it did was it went on to test below this buying tail, and it made a low of 48,530. It held above this POC of 48,500. And here again, what we saw in Nifty, a similar kind of order flow was seen even in the Bank Nifty. Although we had some big reds coming in this B period, what the order flow signal showed us was an RB bar. So as long as this RB was holding, there was no question of going short. Plus, we are getting supply, we are not getting demand at the higher levels, but we did not get any IS30. So that was also stopping us from being bearish. So after this, Bank Nifty did nothing but remained in a narrow range all through the day, and it was surprising because Nifty was moving, was giving good moves, whereas Bank Nifty was least interested. In fact, it kept on coiling into the day and closed right at that POC. So, but the flip side of this is, once you have this coil mode on, it is an indication that very soon this can move into a range expansion mode. So we'll have to be patient and we'll have to see which side this range gets expanded, and the order flow will need to give us that confirmation with the volumes as well as the signal. So that is how we are placed order flow wise, both in Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. In fact, you can have a quick look of these charts even in the candle chart, because these candle chart are available even on the 30 minutes. So you can choose this 30 minutes and have a quick review of the last few days of where you have got IS and IBs. So very clearly Bank Nifty is showing us from the start of this new series, we got this one IB which hit the first target and it got negated. Then we got this one small IS which again did the first target and got negated, and nothing else. Whereas if you go to the Nifty candlestick chart, you can see a follow up. If you see this series chart, you got this IS, it went on to make new lows, but then you got IB1, then you got this IB2, and then you get this IB3. So very clearly, and you are seeing how the cot is more on the green in Nifty futures, whereas in Bank Nifty, you are seeing more of red. So it was very clear the long was more apt in the Nifty futures. And what we have done today is we've almost closed this gap, and we have very close to that RO point of 22683 of Nifty. So we'll have to wait and see how the new weekly settlement, which is starting from tomorrow, shapes up and take it forward. So if there are any queries, I'll answer them before we wind up for the day. Yes, Shiva has one query saying that Shai had mentioned that 22,000 spot, the supply was dying, and we clearly saw that in the order flow chart. So Rajiv has a question: what volume in a 30-minute candle? So volumes are relative, Rajiv, because every day is different. So what we need to see, we definitely make note of the 15-minute volume and the hourly volume and see how they are placed. So for example, the 15-minute volume in Nifty futures, the first 15 minutes, as of today, the average volume was 10,000 contracts. So if you're seeing an opening 15 minutes about 10,000 contracts, then that is a open with better than average volumes. So that order flow signal will have more weightage than a order flow signal with lesser volumes. So we always maintain that volume precede price. So bigger the volumes, you can expect bigger the range. That is the reason if you see the initial balance volumes in both Nifty and Bank Nifty for this week was more than average, which is why we were getting those big ranges. Even today, we got a 574 point range in Bank Nifty, a 195 point in Nifty. Yesterday, we got a 200 point in Nifty and a 447 point range in Bank Nifty. So the opening volume set up the day. I just mentioned the average volume for the first 15 minutes, which is 10,000 contracts in Nifty futures. For the initial balance, we are looking at 27,000 contracts. And overall, for the day's volumes, 92,000 contracts is the volume, average volume. So we take every series with new bias, and we have the 22685 already marked at the rollover point of this series. So we will see if we are approaching that, what order flow signal we get. And we have our bias based on the 30-minute order flow, and then we trade the signals as per the 3-minute order flow. Yes, the 257 bar had big reds, but it was more of profit booking. It was not the 257, it was more the 3 p.m. bar. You can see how we have got big reds in this. Even the cot is big red, but it is very clear. So that is what we do in the order flow. We are not taking one particular feature. We need to add in, we need to look at the bigger picture. We need to add in as many elements as we can. LLT is just one small part of the order flow. Cot is one another part. The order flow signal is the one which is the main part. So along with the red LLTs, we want an IS bar. This red LLTs, you can see how we barely managed to break the lows of this bar. Why? Because this was more profit booking by the longs, and you can see some big greens coming at the other end also. So that is what you need to see. Just because you see a red LLT does not mean you develop a short bias. We need to get in sync the what is happening on the 30 minutes, what is happening on the day time frame, and then accordingly look to trade the signals. So that is it for today from my side, guys. Tomorrow would be a fresh weekly settlement, more so in Nifty, whereas in Bank Nifty it has been a very subdued kind of a week so far. So let's see if we can get some fresh signals tomorrow in the order flow. As of now, Nifty gave a buy side move for this week, and that it has already done more than 500 points. So we'll need to see what is in store for the next week. So we will keep updating the posts on the website, and we will keep having these sessions wherein we do a review of what is happening. But definitely, we hope that these things are helping you to uh, look up trading as per uh, a new perspective. So in all cases, if you are still not aware about the market profile and the order flow setups which we use, do make it a point to go to either go through the e-course which we have on the website, or the best alternative would be to join the VMR, where we have live handholding and discussion in live markets as to what setup is playing out and what are the probable trades which can be taken. So you can get the link to the e-course on the website. The link is also given, and the VMR also, the link is mentioned. So people who are interested definitely do get in touch. You can also DM me on X. My ID is open, and I'll be happy to get back to you on queries about what we are covering on these sessions. So thank you guys for joining in. Any more queries, you can just hurry up before I answer one last question and we wind up for the day. Fine, then I think that's it for today. There are no more queries which are coming in. So have a great evening, guys, and let's look forward to another good week of trading from tomorrow. Thank you all.